Hello everyone and welcome to the epic 11th Winter 2023-24 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go again, time to bring you more winter data. And when I say epic, I mean this is going to be absolutely epic. This could well stretch on into the hour mark, maybe even beyond it. We've got so much to show you. The third section of the video will be show you our reanalysis and analogues for El Nino Winter. So many of you have been asking what El Nino Winter's like, about Modoki El Ninos as well. We're going to try and answer all of your questions. We're going to reveal all. Gav will be revealing all later on in the video. So stick around for that if you dare. And we're going to have all of your questions answered, hopefully, in this 11th winter update in terms of El Nino and El Nino Winter. So sit back, relax and enjoy, and I shall talk you through our epic 11th winter update in a moment. Just to say that first video release day was our 6 AM UK weather forecast. We're going to be live at 6 PM. We shall be live streaming our 10 to 14 day. We'll be discussing this winter update, and of course we will show some long range in that from CFS and from Patel Paint as well. So if you've got any questions about this winter update, then fire away on live. And then straight after that, we've got our latest Christmas update. I think that's update number 4, installment number 4 of the Christmas countdown. So lots and lots going on the channel today. Another epic day of content. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Don't forget to tell friends and family to subscribe as well. We only need to put on around 20 subscribers to get to 17.2k. So if you could give us a sub, it will be amazing, and it will be incredible. We thank you so very much, everybody, for doing that. Thank you so to Richard for our amazing winter updates gear. Thank you so much for King of Swing. Richard, I love it, Rich. Love it. Thank you so much. One of the best gifts that you've done, my friend. Thank you so much. And talking of King of Swing, that's the first thing to look at for our update in a moment. The swingometer. So that's coming up in a second. Thanks so much to birthday boy Shrine as well. Ace Master Shrine on his birthday. Yes, I don't know which one it was. You know how old Shrine is, but I know he's very, very young. I've got shirts that are older than Shrine, but unfortunately they don't fit me now. But I've still got them. But happy birthday to Shrine, to the Ace Master, and thank you so much, Shrine, for all of your help on this update. Thanks so much to Shrine and to Richard for their help. Hashtag Team Gav. Do an amazing job as always. Right, well, with all of that said, I think it's time to commence the 11th winter update. And the first thing we're going to start with is the swingometer. So, after 10 winter updates, including, of course, 2 seasonal roundups, and the Winter 2023-24 AO forecast, that's included as well. This is how we are looking in terms of whether we're favouring a milder or a colder than average winter. Here we go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bong! Thanks to my daddy and friends. Daddy. We now sit at 57%, favouring a milder than average winter. That is a further swing. So we're favouring a milder than average winter by 57%, but that is a swing of 3% from mild to cold from last week. So the 10th winter update did indeed produce a swing of 3% from mild to cold. However, overall, because generally, winter updates have been favouring a mild outcome, we're still sitting at 57% favouring a mild winter. But are we starting to see a late swing here from mild to cold? Are we swinging towards a cold winter in the closing stages of our winter updates? Please let me know in the comments what you think about that prognosis or prospectus or whatever the word is. Everyone, thank you so much to our King of Swing and also to my daddy. Thank you so much to the amazing Richard Shaw for the swingometer. I love it, Rich. I love the countdown as well. Thank you so much. Okay, right, well, you'll find out, by the way, at the beginning of next week's 12th update, how this 11th winter update has affected the swingometer. If indeed it has, that'll be the first thing you'll see next week at the beginning of the 12th winter update. Right, okay, good piece, isn't it? Good. Thank you so much, Rich. Okay, so we're going to look at Eurasian snow cover to start our 11th winter update. So this is how things look in terms of Eurasian, Scandinavian, Nordic, etc. Snow cover at last week's 10th winter update, which is from the 3rd of November. This is the latest. So let's deal with Russian snow cover first of all. I think it's seen a little bit of a drop back, actually, a little bit of a slip back in terms of the snow line across Russia over the past week. For Scandinavia and Nordic snow cover, probably a little bit of a drift back there as well, but we're still doing pretty well, I think. We're still quite well covered in that part of Europe. But for, like, Russia, we have seen that slip back a little bit over the past week. Right, let's close that. And we're going to do a comparison. So this is how we're doing compared to previous years. So, 2022, I reckon, please let me know in the comments which years you think closest to, by the way, everybody. I reckon we are behind 2022 for Russian snow cover, but ahead of Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That's 2021. So we are behind 2021 for Russian snow cover, probably quite close for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 2020. What do you think about that one? So I think we are probably quite close to 2020 for Russian snow cover, but well ahead, well ahead, actually, Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That's 2019. So we're behind that year for both Russian and also Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. That is 2018. What do you think about that one, everyone? What do you think about that? So for 2018, we're probably quite close actually for Russian snow cover and Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2017. Again, I think we're probably quite close to that year for Russian snow cover and ahead of Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. 2016, we are way behind that for not only Russian and Scandinavian Nordic snow cover, but also for European snow cover. We got snow turning up in parts of Germany at this point in 2016, so no comparison to that year. That's 2015, so I think we're behind 2015 for Russian snow cover, but way ahead for Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. That's 2014, so we're behind that year for Russian snow cover, but well ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 2013. Might be quite close to that year actually for Russian snow cover, but we're ahead of it for Scandinavian and also Nordic snow cover, I think. That is 2012. So for that year, we're behind 2012 for Russian snow cover, and probably a bit behind Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 2011. We're behind 2011 for Russian snow cover, but well ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 2010. We're probably quite close to 2010 for Russian snow cover, but behind for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 2009. We're behind that year for Russian snow cover, perhaps a little bit ahead though for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2008. So for that year, we're probably quite close for Russian snow cover, but well ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That's 2007, which we are behind for Russian snow cover, but ahead Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 2006. We're behind 2006 Russian snow cover, probably a little bit ahead both Scandinavian snow cover. 2005, we're well ahead of that year in all areas actually. I think we're ahead for Russian snow cover, but particularly so for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 2004. So for that year, we're probably quite close to Russian snow cover, well ahead for Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. That's 2003. For that year, we are a little bit behind 2003 for Russian snow cover, but well ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That's 2002. We're behind 2002 for Russian, Scandinavian, and also Eastern European snow cover. We are well behind 2002 at 2001. So for that year, probably quite close, perhaps a little bit behind for Russian snow cover, maybe a little bit ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That's 2000. So for that year, I think we're quite close to 2000 for Russian snow cover, and well ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 1999. So for that one, we're behind 1999 for Russian snow cover, but ahead of Scandinavian Nordic snow cover, and that's 1998. And for that year, we're behind 1998 for Russian snow cover, but probably ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. So we're right slap bang in the middle as we have been throughout this season. We're neither doing particularly well or particularly badly for Russian snow cover. It is notable, though, that we're doing quite well for Scandinavian snow cover going back to 1998. Now, I'm going further back than that with Rutger Snow Lab. No, we're not going to do a comparison now, but just sort of keep that in mind, keep that visual in mind, kind of flip it flip it over or turn your head upside down. So, for 1997, we're behind 1997 for Russian snow cover, just here, but probably quite close for Scandinavian snow cover. We're behind 1996 for Russian and Scandinavian snow cover. We're well behind 1995 for Russian, Scandinavian, and European snow cover. We got snow all the way into Eastern France, which gracious me, at this point in 1995. Setting up the cold winter of 95, 96 maybe. 1994, we're behind that year for Russian snow cover, probably quite close maybe for Scandinavian snow cover. 1993, we are behind that year for Russian and European snow cover, but we are ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. 1992, we're behind that year for Russian snow cover, probably quite close to Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. 1991, we're behind that year for Russian snow cover, perhaps a little bit behind for Nordic snow cover. 1990 could be a year that we are closer to for Russian snow cover, but we're well ahead of 1990 for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. 1989, again, that could be a year that we're closer to, perhaps even more so for 1990 for Russian snow cover, and I think a little bit ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. 1988, we're behind that year for Russian and Eastern European snow cover, but ahead of Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. We're well ahead of 1987 for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover, but behind for Russian snow cover. And 1986, we might be quite close to that year for Russian snow cover, a little bit ahead of it, Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. 1985, we're behind that year for Russian snow cover, probably quite close, or perhaps a bit ahead actually, Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. 1984, we're behind that year for Russian snow cover, probably a little bit ahead though, Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. 1983, behind that year for Russian snow cover, but ahead of it for Nordic and Scandinavian snow cover, and the same is true, ditto for 1982. 1981, good bit, isn't it? Good. 1981, we are, what are we about that? So we're behind 1981 for Russian and Scandinavian / Nordic snow cover. 1980, we're behind that year for Russian snow cover. Could be quite close for Scandinavian snow cover though. 1979 might be one of the years that we're closer to a Russian snow cover in terms of snow line, and perhaps a little bit ahead for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. 1978, again, might be quite close to that year for Russian snow cover. Perhaps a little bit ahead Scandinavian snow cover. It's all subjective. Please let me know in the comments which year you think we're close to. Thank you so much, everybody. 1977, we are behind that year for Russian snow cover, probably quite close for Nordic snow cover though. 1976, we're behind that year for Russian snow cover. Again, probably a little bit ahead maybe for Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. 1975, that could be the year we're closer to for Russian snow cover, but ahead for Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. 1974, like quite close to that year too for Russian snow cover, but a little bit high Scandinavian snow cover. 1973, I think we're behind in all areas. 1972, we're definitely behind in all areas, as we are in 1971. Certainly for Russian and Eastern European snow cover, could be a little bit ahead for Scandinavian snow cover maybe. 1970, we're behind that year in all areas, and 1969 too. 1968, we are behind 1968 in all areas as well, and 1967 might be a little bit closer to that year. Scandinavian snow cover, probably a bit behind for Russian snow cover, and finally 1966. This is how we look. So yes, for that year, we are behind that year, I think, both Russian and also for Scandinavian snow cover. Right, so we're doing all right, you know, we're, as we have been throughout the season, to be honest. I think we're slap bang in the middle for Russian snow cover. We're neither doing particularly well or particularly badly. We're somewhere right in the middle of the pack. I think we are still doing pretty well for Scandinavian snow cover. I think going through most of those years, we're not leading. There are quite a few years that we are lagging behind, or a few years that we're lagging behind, but we're in the upper tier, I think, with Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover, which is a little bit unusual, that actually, compared to Russian snow cover. Normally, we'd be leaning on Russian snow cover and lagging a bit on Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. That'd be the typical thing that you'd expect to see. So, slightly unusual this season in that we're doing okay, but not particularly spectacular for Russian snow cover, but we are doing quite well for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. Anyway, please let me know in the comments which years you think close there, and we'll do it all over again next week. We're going to have a little break there, a little pause, and then when we return, we're going to begin our second section of this 11th Winter update with the quasi-Siberian oscillation. But you often stretch your legs, make yourself a drink, perhaps a cup of tea, perhaps something a little bit stronger, some magic water, I don't know. And I shall see you back in a mo. See you shortly. Okay, we're back. We're ready to resume the epic 11th Winter 2023-24 update from GavsWeatherVids. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, please can you like, share, what wouldn't you have done? Please can you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for you out. Make sure you tell your friends and family about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe as well. Spread the word about the data and unique content that we're doing here on the GavsWeatherVids channel. You can't find what we do in this depth anywhere else online, on YouTube, you know, live on YouTube nor online. So please give us a like and share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And I just hope that you are enjoying watching these winter updates as much as I am enjoying making them. We're coming towards the end of the season now, but we've still got the rest of this 11th update and 2 more to go before we release the winter forecast. Thank you so much to Richard for the amazing winter updates gift. Thank you so much, my friend. Right, okay, let's crack on. QBO next, quasi-Siberian oscillation. So this from NASA. And with this, you've got to think that these other levels will be out here. This is Stratosphere up here. This is Troposphere, 30-50 HPA down there. The blue-green colour that we've got here is the easy phase of the quasi-Siberian oscillation, QBO, descending from the stratosphere to the troposphere. In EC QBO, you can weaken the zone of westerlies in the winter. And this is going to be a solid EC QBO winter, mature, solid EC QBO winter, definitely. And if you want to know what EC QBO winter could be like, then check out last week's 10th winter update. We went through in reanalysis all past mature EC QBO winters, including Modoki. I don't know. So check out last week's 10th winter update if you would like to do that. Right, okay, let's move on and have a look at the Arctic oscillation observed and forecast. So the black line shows we've been with the AO, red lines at the end with GFS ensembles of forecasting the AO, the Arctic oscillation to go. Remember, this is just an index that's reflecting that state, doesn't drive anything in its own turn, just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. So when the AO is in a positive phase, we've got low pressure over the Arctic and over the North Pole. When the AO is in a negative phase, we've got high pressure blocking over the Arctic and over the North Pole. We are currently positive. Well, we're currently neutral to very slightly positive with the AO. The GFS ensembles are forecasting that the AO actually go quite strongly positive as we approach the middle part of November, and then we come back to neutral again. There is a lot of scatter in there, I have to say. So we have got several ensemble members down here, but are going for a negative AO that be blocking appearing, and we've got several ensemble members up there, but are going for a positive AO that be low pressure and like polar vortex, etc., 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 over the Arctic and over the pole. So not particularly useful, actually, ensemble graph at the moment. The NAO is looking like this. So again, the black line shows where we've been with the North Atlantic oscillation, red lines at the end where GFS ensembles forecasting NAO to go. Been in a long-term negative NAO state, actually, all the way back into the summer. We did go positive for a while when we had the September heat wave in the first half of September, but other than that, we've been solidly neutral to negative with the NAO for the past several months. We're currently neutral to weakly negative, and the GFS ensembles are forecasting that going to stay neutral to weak negative as well as we approach the real part of November, and then possibly see the NAO going back towards neutral. So by the time we get through to like the last stages of November, we've got both of our indexes, the AO and the NAO, in a rather neutral state, neither particularly reflecting positivity or negativity if the forecast is correct. And that's not particularly helpful in telling what weather's going to do, because when you're around neutral, anything you get any type of weather, anything can happen. So watch this space. Remember, it's always the weather that's driving the index. So looking at the stratosphere next, this is how temperatures looking at 10 HPA over the Arctic and the North Pole. It's coming from a JMA versus average. So the black line is the temperature this season, the grey line is how we're doing compared to long-term averages. So we haven't been that far, we haven't been deviating that far from the average sort of temperature at 10 HPA over the North Pole for the past 10 months. We go back to the beginning of September with this. We're currently a little bit colder than average down here. We're not that far away from average. We're around -75. We expect to be around -72, something like that, around -75, -76. So a little bit colder than average. Not seeing a plunge though at the moment. And if we go down to 30 HPA, which is a bit closer to the top here, then we see we are also a little bit below average there as well. Again, not a particularly big deviation, but we're slightly under par at the moment at both 10 and 30 HPA in the stratosphere. But as I say, it's not greatly so. This is our latest GFS run is forecasting temperatures at 10 HP over the Arctic and the North Pole. So you can see from the blue colours, it's basically the polar vortex at its roots in the stratosphere. That's a depiction of the PV with those cold temperatures. So you see we're somewhere between -72, -76 over the North Pole, bit below par for the time of the year, not greatly so. Over the next few days and over the next week or so, keep the temperature hovering somewhere again around -70, around -76, -75, something like that over the North Pole. So we go to extended, and again sort of -72 to -76 temperatures are seen then. A little bit of a warming going on over Siberia. That's nowhere near SSW, but there's a slight modest warming happening over Siberia, which I suppose is a little bit unusual for November. But honestly, from a stratospheric point of view, nothing overly dramatic going on all the way to 27th of November, 2 weeks out. Again, we're hovering over poles somewhere between -72 and -76. So we go back here, we're just going to be around there, you know, over the next couple of weeks probably. So slightly under par, but not greatly so, not a particularly big deviation if that forecast is correct. This is from ENSO, so this is showing temperature anomalies at 10 HPA forecast temperature anomalies for the next 6 weeks. So we're actually slightly above average on the Greenland side. We'll be next week on the Greenland and Atlantic side of the North Pole, and a little bit colder than average over on the Siberian side of the Arctic and the North Pole. Remember, these are anomalies to average that we're seeing here. Right, let's go through the next 6 weeks. So that's week 13th to 20th of November. This is the 27th of November. Again, nothing overly dramatic going on. 27th of November to 4th of December, a warming is starting to take place there between America and, between Canada, I should say, and Russia at 10 HPA. 4th to the 11th of December, going above average and quite widely across the Arctic and the North Pole. And then that's the 11th to the 18th of December, a bit of a strengthening of those warmer than average temperature anomalies. And then finally that's the 18th to the 25th of December, and a further strengthening happening close to Greenland and the North Pole. By that point on the temperature scale, we're like 8 going to 10 degrees above average. That will be away from an SSW though. That will not be reaching SSW required or the required temperature to say that you're having a sudden stratospheric warming. Nevertheless, quite a significant warming of the stratosphere being forecast there as we're going through December, and that could have a weakening effect on the polar vortex, even if it doesn't, if it isn't a technical SSW. This is the forecast for the next 6 weeks for zone of wind at 10 HPA over the North Pole. Again, it's coming from the ECMWF. Let's see how straight I can draw the line. There we go. So that zero line is very important. Any on-top event that goes under that, you go for reversal of zone of winds. There are a few doing that into the second half of December. Currently, zone of winds, despite nothing overly dramatic going on with temperature at 10 HPA, currently the zone of winds actually really very strong. We've got a very strong zone of wind at 10 HPA. So this is another way of looking at the polar vortex, essentially. So you can either look at the PV through temperature, through those cold temperatures, 10 HPA, or you could look at it in terms of the strength of it, I suppose, through the solar wind. At the moment, we see that the solar wind is very, very strong there, perhaps at record-breaking levels. We are, if the forecast is correct, though, we are going to see a weakening of the solar wind as we go from November into December. Keep an eye on this thick blue line just here. That is our ensemble mean, and notice how that is gradually falling away, especially as we get into the middle and second half of December. Long way out though, of course, and as ever with any data prediction forecast beyond a week to 10 days out, there is unreliability and uncertainty about it. But the ECM model is being quite consistent about this. So it looks like the solar wind will probably be weakening as we go through the course of December, and that will probably be in response to these warming signals. But to get a sudden stratospheric warming, we need to lift the temperature higher than that, and of course we would need to see a reversal of solar winds with solar wind going down to that sort of level. So it's all quite interesting what's happening stratosphere wise, but there's still quite a lot of a long way to go, and we'll keep you posted. Solar activity next is how solar disk is looking on our side of this day from solarham.net. We have got some sunspot regions. However, solar activity is at low levels and is expected to remain at low levels for the next 3 days. This would be GavsWeatherVids 11th winter update solar activity tracker sent through from Shrine. So the orange line, orange spots depicting each individual day's worth of sunspots and also solar activity. So we did get quite a big drop down in solar activity back in October, of course, after we had this big peak back in the summer and a secondary peak just there into September. We did see quite a significant drop in the daily sunspot numbers. We're currently around here for our daily sunspot numbers, so we're certainly on a lower level than we was like a month or two back. Our trend lines, which are the thick green and blue lines, they are our 30-day, 60-day averages respectively. They are still falling actually in response to the rather significant drop in activity that we had through the middle and second half of October. And whilst, yes, the day sunspots have recovered since then, not enough to start lifting trend lines back up yet. So we've certainly backed off with solar cycle 25 at the moment in terms of daily sunspot numbers, haven't we? Oh, this is from Richard. Wow. Who is it? Who's that? Who's that wearing the Darth mask? I don't know. Who could that be? But Daddy. It's the Daddy. Yes, but Daddy turned up in last week's 10th winter update to everybody's amusement. I donned the mask, didn't I? I put the mask on for the Daddy. Right, anyway, thank you so much to Rich. You made me laugh when you sent that to me, Rich. This is how spotless days and the current spotless stretch are looking in terms of sunspots. So the current spot stretch is 0 day, given that every day at the moment is having sunspots. For 2023 so far, we are also at 0 days in terms of spotless days. So every day so far this year has had sunspots. In 2022, we had 1 day that didn't have any sunspots, that was spotless. And in 2021, we had 64 days that was spotless. 2020, we had 208 days, which was spotless. And 2019, 281 days, 77% of the year. That was our solar minimum year. So the vast majority of the year in 2019, we didn't see any sunspots. Our comparable year, so 24, is 2012, and that year also had 0 days in terms of sunspots. So we're bang on what you'd expect to be happening in terms of every day having sunspots, but obviously we are at a weaker level, as we saw from the tracker there. We're at a weaker level than we was 2 or 3 months ago with solar cycle 25. We will almost certainly see the solar cycle picking up again, though there's more to come from solar cycle 25, and we will keep you posted. Thank you so much, Shryan, and thank you so much to Richard for the solar data. Right, okay, next we're going to look at is Atlantic 2023 hurricane season. So this is the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season from Wikipedia. These are the scores on the doors. Miss Ford, I don't know, we're still sitting at 21 tropical depressions, 20 tropical storms, 7 hurricanes and 3 major category 3 or above hurricanes. Those numbers are all unchanged from last week. This is how Ace is looking. Birthday boy Shryan, Ace Master sent this through. Accumulated cyclone energy. Remember, it's depicting the energy that each storm is emitting, and both in terms of the season overall, all the storms through the season. The classification for Ace is below normal, near normal, above average, hyperactive. If we come down to 2023, we can see that our Ace is at 145.60. That's barely changed on last week. I don't think that changed at all on last week, actually. That is after 20 tropical depressions, 20 tropical storms, I should say, 7 hurricanes and 3 major category 3 or above hurricanes. It's very similar, actually, this season to 2021, which had an Ace of 145.56. It is officially classified as being above normal. I don't think there's much more of a season to go. We may get a very late storm, but I don't think we will. So next week we will probably, through reanalysis, look at above normal hurricane seasons for Ace and the numbers of storms and that. And it'll be the same sort of years I looked at in the 2021 updates, actually. So more about that next week. Thank you so much to the Ace Master, Shrine Brun, for sending that through. Right, and let's have a look at the oceans. So the rest of this video is going to be like special for the oceans and particularly for ENSO. So this is how the oceans were looking last week when we did last week's temp update. Got our 4 areas of interest. Got the ENSO region just here, actual Pacific Ocean there. Northern Pacific just here, particular focus on the Northeastern Pacific. Indian Ocean is over there, and the Atlantic Ocean is over there. That is how things are looking as of the 3rd of November. This is the latest, everyone, as of the 10th. And let's do the ENSO region first of all. Remember, we're looking just here. So, I think we're probably seeing a little bit of a weakening of the El Nino signature in the eastern portion of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean, but perhaps a strengthening of the ENSO signal through the central region compared to last week, or maybe relatively steady, stable through the central region, but a little bit of a weakening has taken place over in the eastern portion, I think. Nevertheless, the eastern portion is still the warmest of all the ENSO regions, though, through here. So obviously you have a nice El Nino signature there. In the Northern Pacific, again, that's how things were looking in the Northern Pacific last week. This is the latest. So not much change in the Northeastern Pacific, but perhaps a bit of strengthening of the cold PDO signature here to the south and to the east of Hawaii, possibly. So we might be starting to see the cold PDO signature beginning to strengthen a little bit there through that part of the Pacific Ocean. That will be something to keep an eye on in the final couple of updates. In the Indian Ocean, of course, got the positive IOD, so it's warm over here towards Asia, and it's cold over here towards Indonesia. When the Indian Ocean is split in that way, then you've got a positive phase of the Indian Ocean dipole. We explained in an earlier update what positive IOD winters are usually looking like. And then in the North Atlantic, been a lot of discussion about what's going on in the North Atlantic. Notice how warm it is through here, and we'll see some temperature. And then we've got these cooler anomalies through there, and then warmer through here. A lot of people are speculating whether that's a tripole beginning to emerge. It's a slight tripole signature, but I always look towards the eastern seaboard more. So I would like to see it getting colder through here in particular. anywhere from like Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, all the way down the east coast towards the Carolinas. So you want it to go colder there, and if it's colder here, then that's great as well. But you definitely want it to be colder through there, and then warmer up here. And then obviously what's happening with tropical subtropical nights, there's no problem there. That's significantly above average as it has been for years actually. So you want it to be something like that. So you want it to be something like that. Cold and what am I doing? You want it to be something like that, messing it up again, guys. So you want it to be warm through there, you want it to be cold through there, and then you want it to be warm up there, and that's the classic tripod signature. So we're a little way back. We have been through the season so far, but it isn't a classic tripod signature in my opinion. We would need to see it going significantly cooler through here. Right, let's see what 7-day change is then in all those areas. So in terms of the ENSO region, yes, we have seen a bit of a cooling in the eastern portion, a bit of a warming in the central region, so my instinct on that was correct. Northern Pacific generally has cooled a little bit over the past week. Could be cold, PDO signature should be starting to re-emerge. Warming still going on over here, and cooling over there in the Indian Ocean, so the positive iodine signature probably still strengthening, and in the North Atlantic just generally cooling a little bit in most regions actually, although warming through here. Right, Southern Oscillation Index. Remember, the SOI is depicting the atmospheric state. It's index that reflecting the atmospheric state in the southern Pacific Ocean. So when the SOI, especially air pressure between Tahiti and Darwin, so these are our two columns here, Tahiti there, Darwin there. When the SOI is negative, the atmospheric state is reflective of El Nino. When the SOI is positive, the atmospheric state is reflective of La Nina. So, well, past few days, I've actually seen a strengthening of the negative phase of the SOI. You can see these numbers, I won't go through, but you can see these negative numbers here, really quite significantly negative over the past week or so. The latest number, 11th of November, is actually minus 20.62, that's very negative. That tells us that the atmospheric state is beginning to reflect El Nino a little bit more strongly again after it backed off it slightly a week or so back. So for our average, our 30-day average, which is the red line, of course, that is beginning to fall backwards now. So the 30-day average did rise up to around -6, or something like that, about a week ago, but we're now back down to -8. That's because we're getting more negativity of the SOIs. The atmospheric state is beginning to start reflecting the El Nino a little bit more strongly. We are now officially in an El Nino, by the way. So this is the Cold War episode by Ziz Page from CPC, NCEP, and NOAA. This is showing all El Nino, all ENSO events essentially, whether it's El Nino, La Nina, or ENSO neutral back 1950 on a tri-monthly basis. If we come down here, we can see that the numbers have now turned red. So we've got, we do have to reach quite strict requirements to get either El Nino or La Nina designated. It's got to be half a degree or more for El Nino above average. We see some temperature numbers over 5 tri-month periods. We now have done that. Our first tri-monthly period where we reached the required temperature threshold was April, May, June, just there, half a degree above average. You see since then we've been having a gradual strengthening of the positivity of those numbers. So the last number did it. It was 1.5, 1.5 degrees above average. And so the numbers have now gone from black to red. And we are now officially in a El Nino. And 1.5 degrees above average is like a moderate El Nino value. Getting towards strong El Nino, but probably moderate. No, there's scope for further strengthening over the next 2, 3, 4 tri-month period. So we will probably see a moderate to borderline strong El Nino in the end. We should be short of a super Nino. So our last super El Nino, 2015, 2016, when you see we actually went over 2.5 degrees above average with the temperature anomaly there through late 2015 and 2016. That's a very, very strong El Nino indeed. Before that, we had a Super Nino in 1997, 98. 1998 again goes around 2.5 degrees above average. And the first Super Nino, certainly since 1915, was in 1982, 1983, and that one not quite as high as the other two, but even so, going above 2 degrees above average. I think we will keep it to 2 degrees or a little bit under that at the peak of this El Nino event. So a moderate to strong El Nino, but not a Super Nino. If we try and find one that we could be close to there, perhaps for this event. Maybe a good one might be 72, 73. With that one, we went close to just slightly over 2 degrees above average, but wasn't particularly a super Nino. So quite a strong event, but not a super. This how we CFS is forecasting El Nino. So temperature lines on the side, dates and appears on the bottom. We're currently around here again, somewhere between 1.5 and 2 degrees above average. CFS is forecast we get quite close to 2 degrees above average by January 2024. I think that might be a bit overdone, actually. And then starting to fall away through the first months of the year, possibly even hinting at a landing, kind of event setting up by next summer. That is very speculative. Also going Modoki, still going from Modoki, central base El Nino. So with that, we can see that, yes, the temperature forecast is to go down to around 1 degree above average in regions 1 and 2, which is the eastern portion of the actual Pacific Ocean, compared to 3.4 central area, which is around 1.5, 2 degrees above average. Therefore, that would be a Modoki or central base El Nino. This is how things have been developing in the ENSO region over the past 3 months, zoomed in. So this is from the 10th of September. You see then quite clearly the strongest, warmest temperatures were in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. On the 10th of October, that is still the case, actually. The strongest warming is over here in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. And then the latest, 10th of November. So it's still the strongest positive temperature over here, but it's much more evenly distributed now. And we have clearly seen in the eastern portion a cool down that's taken place, over the past 3 months. So clearly it does look as though this is beginning to shift and become a little bit more central base Modoki in type, even though at the moment we're still actually slightly eastern base El Nino. But I think the distribution is shifting there, or has shifted over the past 3 months. Now this is what Richard noticed. So thank you to Rich for noticing this. We haven't talked about this before, I don't think, in our winter updates. This is multivariate ENSO index. So this is basically telling us how well the atmosphere is coupled with the El Nino. So how reflective the atmospheric state is of the El Nino. So it's kind of another way of looking at the SOI, I suppose. So this grey line is 2023. And the other coloured lines are the El Nino events from 82, 83, 87, 88. I think that will be 1991, 1992. And 1998, 1997, 1998. So that would be 86, 87, I think, there. So let's do that again. So we've got 82, 83 here. We've got 86, 87 here. I think we've got 91, 92 just there. We've got 97, 98 there. I've got 2015, 2016. So basically, you've got the 3 super Ninos and then 2 that are somewhat weaker. We've got the 3 super Ninos of 82, 83. 97, 98, and 2015, 2016. And you see how the grey line, how this year, 2023, is actually, in terms of the absolute state, lagging underneath most of the other lines, and particularly notably so these ones up here. And of course, they are the Super Ninos. So, although this is quite a strong dish, it's sort of moderate to borderline strong El Nino in terms of sea temperature, and also we've established, actually, in terms of the multivariate ENSO index, the MEI, in terms of that, then what we've seen is that the atmosphere hasn't that well coupled, to be honest, so far with this El Nino event. This is another way of looking at the multivariate ENSO index. Yeah, this is all coming from NOAA, by the way. So you see these red spikes up here. They are the past 3 super Ninos. That one is 82, 83. That one is 97, 98. And that one is 2015, 2016. Notice how low we currently are with the multivariate ENSO index just there. So although from a sea surface temperature line perspective, this is quite a strong event, actually we are much closer to the weaker events, of previous years. For example, I suppose we would have, so we're at the 2009-10 there, that's 2009-10 just there, and we're under that in terms of our multivariate ENSO index as well. So we kind of on a par, I suppose, maybe with these ones just here in the early to middle 2000s. for example. So quite interesting that the sea surface temperature anomaly is relatively high, but actually the way the atmosphere is responding is rather in a rather weak fashion, and that probably is why we've had so many hurricanes this season, or one of the reasons we've had so many hurricanes this season, which is very unusual. We've established in earlier updates for a developing El Nino year. This is for JMA, so this is forecasting for JMA. Again, JMA is forecasting that this El Nino event will get to about 2 degrees in terms of sea surface temperature, so becoming quite a strong event in terms of the SST anomaly, and also forecasting that it will become a weakish Modoki El Nino. That's the Modoki El Nino index just there. So we are expecting this to become a Modoki, a central base El Nino, by the time we get into the middle part of the winter. In a moment, we're going to go through our reanalysis. We talked for nearly 45 minutes, so maybe we can keep this under an hour. I thought we'd be going over an hour with this, but I might be able to keep it under the hour. Wouldn't that be something after all of that? But still got lots of reanalysis to show you, loads and loads of charts. So what could happen in an El Nino winter, or with an El Nino winter? What implications for east base versus Modoki El Nino? What about the strength of the El Nino? What about the multivariate index? All will be revealed in a moment. So hang on, hold fire, and the final section of this epic 11th winter update shall reveal all. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, we're back and we're ready to resume the third and final part of the epic 11th Winter 2023-24 update from GavsWeatherVids. If you've enjoyed the update so far, please do you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for doing that unique content from GavsWeatherVids. You can't find this anywhere else online. Keep telling you, you can't find this anywhere else online. That is so in-depth. So if you have enjoyed, if you like the science and all of that stuff, then please tell your friends and family about GavsWeatherVids and get them to subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, reanalysis time. Here we go, then. So the first thing we want to look at is the MEI, the multivariate ENSO index. Richard has noted that the 2 years we are closest to in terms of the MEI at the moment, where the atmospheric response, is looking with the El Nino, is the winter of 1979-1980. So this is how winter 79-80 looks, with above average heights to the north, below average heights coming in off the Atlantic. So that's quite a modest winter, but it does have a cold January. That is quite an unsettled winter as well in 1980. And the other one is 2004-2005. That's the closest with 79-80, 04-05 to the current MEI scenario. This one has above average heights out to our west and around that. We bring the wind in from the northwest. Very variable winter, that one. So it's generally quite mild in December, but does have a white Christmas for the north anyway. Exceptionally mild in the first half of January, much colder second half, and then the second half of February to the middle of March, that's when winter really truly gets going, and we have quite a pronounced easterly and quite a cold state. It's interesting that the MEI is relatively weak, but we have got quite a strong sea surface temperature anomaly. So from an SST anomaly perspective, this is a moderate or strong El Nino, but from an MEI perspective, it's actually quite a weak El Nino, and that is something that is quite unusual. So we are, in a way, in a little bit of a unique situation with this, scenario in terms of El Nino at the moment. This is how all Decembers combined, or both Decembers combined, are looking with those two MEIs. Quite, MEI winters, I should say, quite unsettled for December 79 and December 2004. Atlantic driven, low pressure dominated. All Januaries combined, though, gets a bit more interest. The mid-Atlantic ridge begins to appear, goes up towards Greenland, so a little bit more of a colder input. It is a cold January that we have, I think, in 1918. And then all Februaries combined, this will be primarily down to 2005, I suppose, has high pressure blocking away to the north and winds coming in from more of an easterly direction. So soon as get colder as the winter progresses, really. All winters combined look like that. Mid-Atlantic ridge is seen. Bear in mind, December is much more low pressure, dominated, Atlantic driven and milder. It looks like January, February progress to something colder. But what about if we just look at sea surface temperature line? So that's the MEI, that's the multi-ENSO, that's the multivariate ENSO index. Try saying that we had several glasses of magic water, which I have not yet. Maybe when I've finished doing this video, it will drive me to it, but not yet. Not yet. But what about looking at sea surface temperature at our perspective? There we see a much stronger El Nino signature, of course. So we're at moderate to borderline strong levels at the moment. This these years temporary by Shrine. Thank you so much, Shrine, for saying these three. So this is how moderate El Nino winters are looking. The first one is 1951, 1952, and this one has low pressure to our east. High pressure is out to the west, so that's quite an unsettled winter. Does have some cold snaps as well. We've got 1963, 1964. This is a very dry anticyclonic winter. So after the daddy of cold winter, 62, 63, 63, 64 is a winter off, and not much going on in that one. The next moderate El Nino winter is 1968, 1969. This is a proper cold winter, has blocking around Greenland and winds coming in from the east. So this has quite a cold late December, cold Christmas, white Christmas actually, in parts of the country in 1968. A mild and wet January, but then at the end of January it gets much colder, and February of 1969 is bitterly cold and very snowy as well. Our next moderate El Nino winter is 1986, 1987. This is a cold winter too, with high pressure blocking away to the north and winds coming in from a northeasterly direction. That has the big freeze, of course, in January 1987. Wow. Then our next moderate El Nino winter is 1994, 1995. This one very Atlantic driven, mild and wet winter. Low pressure in the North Atlantic, high pressure down towards Spain. Two cold snaps here and there, but overall that's a very mild and wet winter for 94, 95. 2002, 2003 looks like it should be a cold, moderate El Nino winter with high pressure above average heights anyway, seeing Iceland and Scandinavia. You look about big winds coming in from the east. It just somehow doesn't really come together, but there are some quite cold snaps in January of 2003. But overall, for the analog, you expect a colder winter than that, probably. And then our next moderate El Nino winter is 2009, 2010. This is a genuinely cold winter with high pressure blocking up towards Greenland, low pressure to the south of it, winds coming in from the east. So the coldest period there is from the middle of December to middle of January, when it really gets very cold at times and very snowy in particularly those first couple of weeks of January 2010. But there's cold after that through the second half of January and into February. There are further cold snaps, and overall the winter of 09-10 is the coldest winter since 1979 for England and Wales, and it's the coldest winter since 1963 for Scotland. A very, very cold winter. What about if we go up the scale to strong El Nino winter? So there are the moderate El Nino winters in terms of sea surface temperature. What about if we go up the scale to strong El Nino winters, where we've got 57, 58, and again that has high pressure out in the Atlantic going up to Greenland. Low pressure to the east. That starts mild and then gets colder later. Classic for an El Nino winter, really. So a mild December in 1957, but gets progressively colder, culminating in some very cold weather late February and into March 1958. Got 1965, 1966. This one with low pressure in off the Atlantic, but does have a blocking signal. So this one's a front-loaded winter, quite unusually for an El Nino winter. It's cold in December and early January of 65, 66, but mild in February of 1966. So that one's slightly unusual. We've got 1972, 1973 as our next strong El Nino winter. That one's quite anticyclonic and relatively mild as well. A little bit of a forgettable winter. And then we've got 1987, 1988. And this one is mild as well, with low pressure in the Atlantic. That's a mild and wet winter for 87, 88 that we have there. Remember, we aren't showing you super Ninos because we don't think this El Nino will reach Super Nino status. Our final strong El Nino winter is 1991, 1992, and that one with high pressure sat over top of the country. What looks apparent to me is that the moderate El Nino winters have greater cold potential than the strong El Nino winters. But let's have a look. So this is how all Decembers combined are looking with moderate and strong El Nino. So this is every year, but we just focus on from 51, 52 all the way down to what was the final year. It was 09, 10, I think. So for this one, we can see that quite a mild signal for the December, lots of low pressure in the Atlantic, some high pressure trying to build flurries, but basically this low pressure would override that most of the time. So December starts us off on a mild note. However, for moderate and strong El Nino, January's combined gets more interesting. High pressure blocks towards Greenland, and winds go into the east overall. So it does favour things start getting colder and more blocked in January. And then that's all February's combined. That's probably the best out of 3 months for a cold perspective. High pressure focused around Greenland, a trough of low pressure over to south and east, country winds coming in from the east. So it looks very transitional, like a mild wet start in December, transitioning to a colder and more block pattern January, and culminating potentially a lot of the time anyway in a cold and blocked February. That's how all winters combined look, with moderate and strong El Nino. High pressure again up towards Greenland, low pressure to the south, winds coming in from the east. Overall a cold winter signal, but particularly so later on in the winter. What about if we just narrow things down, look at those moderate El Nino? So that is all of them from 51, 52 to 09, 10. Mostly a slightly stronger signal for all Decembers combined, to have some higher pressure to the north, lower pressure to the south. So even the Decembers could have a bit of cold potential there with moderate El Nino. But look what happens in January. This is how all January's combined are looking, with moderate El Ninos on average. Blocking really sets up around Greenland, Iceland, low pressure goes to south. That is a signal for a cold pattern across most parts of northern and also Western Europe. The same is true for February, where we have a moderate El Nino. High pressure blocking around Greenland, low pressure to the south, winds coming in from the east, definitely favouring a colder than average February there with moderate El Ninos. And in terms of all winters combined, with a moderate El Nino blocking again around Greenland, low pressure to the south, winds in from an easterly direction. What about if we look at all strong El Ninos though? So this is how all Decembers combined are looking when we have a strong El Nino, and with that we tend to get high pressure across Western Europe, low pressure sway to the north. That's a mild signal. A little bit of high pressure could produce frost and fog, I suppose, but that is a mild signal really for those Decembers. This is all years from 57, 58 to 91, 92. Anticyclonic and relatively mild. That is all January's combined. Again, a bit of an anticyclonic signal over and to the east of the country. So that could be chilly. We could bring the wind in off the country, but it's not a proper cold signal. We haven't got a proper block signal there, so just relatively anticyclonic again. And then that's all February's combined with a strong El Nino, with a trough of low pressure over to the east country and out to west. A bit of blocking up towards Greenland, but nowhere near the extent that we see with moderate El Nino. So as ever, we do say this both with La Nina and El Nino. How strong the event is, is critical as to whether it peps up jet stream, I think, and whether you have an overall an overall cold or mild signal. This is how all winters combined looking for a strong El Nino. So, low pressure to the north and in the Atlantic, not much blocking. Overall, strong El Nino quite clearly, nowhere near as impactful as a moderate El Nino in terms of blocking. And then what about if the El Nino is eastern base or central base, Modoki in type? Well, these are the eastern base El Ninos out of this set. So that's 51, 52, 57, 58, 65, 66, 72, 73, 87, 88, and 91, 92. Again, we see that for all Decembers combined, an eastern base El Nino, low pressure to the north, high pressure over the country, so a mild anticyclonic signal starts us off. That's all January's combined. Again, some higher pressure away to the east, but not in a position really to bring much in the way of cold weather. With that, with an eastern base El Nino. February's a little bit more interesting though. This is how all February's combined look with an eastern base El Nino. And we do tend to get some higher pressure in the North Atlantic, and stronger blocking signal, low pressure to the east. That's probably down to 59, 58, I think, within that set, and maybe 952 as well. All winters combined with an eastern-based El Nino. Overall, a relatively mildish signal for those winters. And what about this, what everybody's waiting for? What about Central Base or Modoki? Lastly, so this is how all Decembers combined are looking with a Modoki El Nino. And we see high pressure is favoured to be to the north, low pressure to the south. Clearly that favours bringing the wind from the east. This is all only from 63, 64 to 09, 10. By the way, all January's combined with a Modoki El Nino. Look at that, high pressure around Greenland, low pressure to the south. Notice as well, it's a cold signal for Eastern America, and much America, when you have a Modoki El Nino, that will force cold air down into both sides of the Atlantic on average in January. All February's combined with Modoki El Nino also favouring a cold outcome, high pressure blocking around Greenland, low pressure again running to the south and also into southeast of America. So once again, that's a cold signal on both sides of the Atlantic, really to be cold with a Modoki El Nino. And lastly, this is how winters combined are looking with a central base Modoki El Nino. Yes, it favours a cold and average winter, high pressure blocking around Greenland, low pressure and a jet stream going to the south. Again, that is a signal to bring cold air in to the north and the west of Europe from the east, and also to bring cold air into eastern parts of America from the north and from the northwest there as well. So both sides of the Atlantic favour to have a cold winter when you have a central base Modoki El Nino, albeit there are exceptions to that. We've got 94, 95 in the mix. That's mild winter, of course, but averaging it all out, yes, it does favour a cold winter on both sides of the Atlantic when you have a central base Modoki El Nino. Usually moderate. There are very few Modoki El Ninos that have been strong El Ninos. Right, we are just short of the hour mark. Wow, wow, wow. So, what do you make of that, everybody? Extensive, exhaustive information. You won't find that anywhere else online, so I hope you've enjoyed what you've just witnessed. And if you have, then please do like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to tell friends apparently about GavsWeatherVids and drop a comment as well. Thank you so to Shryan and also to Richard, hashtag Team Gav, have been amazing. I've worked so hard on this winter update, so thank you so much to Shryan and to Richard. And we're going to be live at 6 p.m. So if you've got any questions about this winter update, then please hold fire and ask away. I'm live streaming at 6 p.m. and I shall see you then. And next week's 12th winter update will be the penultimate winter update for this season, of course. And you'll see at the start of that how this 11th update has affected the swing arbiter. Will we have produced another swing from mild to cold with those analogues? You will find out as the first thing that you see at the beginning of next week's 12th update. For the 11th winter 2023-24 update from GavsWeatherVids, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.